do you also have any plan to issue IPO venture into the stock market?
So we, as of today, we are a private company. Uh, we would potentially raise more capital. It could be private, it could be public. We've been growing at about 30% year on year all through this period. Okay. But the solar segment of our business is growing faster than the overall company growth. Okay. So the solar business is growing at about 50-55% year. Definitely is a long term boom. In that long term boom, there will be times when there is overbooking, and there will also be times when there is oversupply. We have a capacity of 6 million batteries a year. In addition to that, we have a full stack of technology on lithium batteries. Our estimate is that in the next 1 year or so, about 20 to 25% of the rooftop installations, which were earlier grid tie, which is the PM Surya Ghar Yojana, under the scheme, about 20 to 25% will move to hybrid. For a country like India, where even now our per capita consumption of energy is amongst the low percentile, so we still have a long way to go in terms of consumption catching up.
So right now in our latest episode, SAUR Energy, we are joined by Mr. Rakesh Malhotra ji, who is the CEO and founder of Livguard. Livguard, for all those who do not know, is working towards manufacturing of solar panels. It is also in solar inverters. And besides that, Mr. Malhotra wears a lot of hats. He has started a lot of companies dealing with solar manufacturing, EVs, and also in different solutions. Mr. Malhotra, thanks a lot for joining SAUR Energy Battery.
Welcome.
So first question, I think you started your career around 1983 as an engineer at Nelco, then you moved to Siemens. And then I think after that 1985 you started your entrepreneurship journey. So what exactly pushed you, encouraged you to venture into this entrepreneurship journey?
Well, I mean, in 1985, I was just a 23-year-old engineer with about a year and a half of work experience. And the opportunities to do something on your own were just emerging at that point in time. And this is pre-liberalization, so, things were not as open and as sort of conducive for entrepreneurship as they are today. So the first thing that we started doing was in the area of power electronics. We started making UPS products for PCs that had just about started hitting the market. And from there, the journey continued. We then founded a company called Luminous Power Technologies, which then became the country's most preeminent inverter and power backup solutions brand. And then from there, we eventually founded many other businesses over the last 40 years. So it's been a good run. I mean, we wanted to do something on our own, me and my co-founder. And we sort of pursued that dream, turned out well. Over the years, we've done about 14 different ventures.
Okay.
And some of them, of course, just did not make it, and some of them did quite well. So it's a mixed bag of successes and attempts.
So, do you think for the present generation, the entrepreneurship journey has become easier because now we have Shark Tanks, we have a lot of Asian investors. Investors have come up, opened up. So, how challenging it was venturing into this sector around in 80s or 90s?
Well, I mean, at that time, there were no VCs, no angels, except your own family and friends who would be the angel investors. So, from a fundraising standpoint, it was a very tough time compared to what it is today. We had to therefore be capital efficient, which kind of has stayed with us, and that allowed us to do multiple ventures with whatever success we were able to make out of all the companies that we started. So till 2007, that means almost 22 years from the start of my journey as an entrepreneur, we had no external investor in our business. And including banks used to give lending only if you had collateral securities. So you had to mortgage your house if you wanted a loan from your bank. And from those days, I think today is probably the best time for an entrepreneur to start innovating. It's definitely a very different time now.
So you have tried a lot of things, went into solar manufacturing. You have also stepped into EVs, in batteries. So which is the sector that excites you the most? And you see that it has a very good future, promising future.
So look, India as a market is a booming consumer market for pretty much anything that upgrades the consumer's life. So we are largely into three different, verticals, if you like. So one of them is consumer home appliances and smart homes. One of them is energy transition, which is solar or backup, batteries, and electric drivetrains, which is Livguard. And then the third one, which is the youngest piece of our current businesses, is the EV company that we have set up called Electrics, which is a two-wheeler and three-wheeler product design and manufacturing. And all three of them are exciting in their own ways. But the biggest part of our business happens to be the energy business, because that's where we started from. And that's where also the opportunity at a mega trend level is very, very large, because energy is something that nobody can live without. And the way we consume and use energy and how we generate energy is completely changing very rapidly, both from an efficiency standpoint and from a sustainability standpoint.
Do you believe that India is currently undergoing a solar boom kind of thing, where the solar business specifically has a very bright future? Because we talk to a lot of solar model makers, they say they're very much overbooked for the next 1 year or 2 years. So how is your condition and how you see the solar sector future?
For a country like India, where even now our per capita consumption of energy is amongst the low percentile, and we are probably about 1/3 of Thailand's per capita energy consumption. So we still have a long way to go in terms of consumption catching up. So as availability improves and as costs with renewable energy fall, we are going to see over a period of time, next probably a decade or so, we will see that the per capita energy consumption in this country will probably catch up with the rest of Southeast Asian countries and so on. Which by its side is about 3 to 4 times, growth in demand at an overall level. And within that, the renewables component, solar being the preeminent one of them, is catching share of the pie from what it is today to more like a 50% share of pie will come to renewables, and solar will be the major part of it. So the boom definitely is a long-term boom. Now, in that long-term boom, there will be times when there is overbooking, and there will also be times when there is oversupply. So you will see in some spurts when capacity overshoots demand, but then very soon the demand will catch up, and then that will overshoot supply, and you will see multiple ways of growth in the solar sector. So I don't call it a boom, but I would rather call it a secular growth trend.
So you believe it is more sustainable? Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, we're just beginning, in my view. So right now you have all these mega projects coming up, which is sand to socket. Everything is going to get done here. So that throws up all kinds of opportunities for companies to play.
so India has seen a transition, specifically if we talk about solar model makers in India, they have seen a transition. Earlier it was polycrystalline, then it was replaced by increasing interest of people towards monoPERC, and now a lot of people are making top-on based solar modules. So what is your current capacity of manufacturing of solar modules, and what are the main technologies you're adopting towards this?
So we work in a partnership ODM model in terms of solar panels. So we have partnerships with 3 solar panel manufacturing units where we insource our manufacturing requirements inside these plants. So we have control over both the quality and the technology, and we use the manufacturing facilities which are at larger scale to be able to produce it for us. So we have moved mostly to TopCon and DCR, and so that I think is an ongoing affair. So you would see if so the trend is to improve efficiency of conversion from such solar energy to electrical energy. We have seen it come up from low teens to now some 26-27% type of yields. So that I think is an ongoing affair. So every few years we will see the technology change, and you have to keep evolving with that technology as we go. Livguard as a company is focused on consumer and C&I segment. So residential and C&I segment are our core focus segments. And we don't see ourselves as a solar panel company. We see ourselves as a solar solutions company. So our right to win or reason to exist is that a consumer for his residential rooftop or a small commercial establishment is not quite at the same place as a grid scale solar installation customer because of the lack of knowledge, lack of technical capabilities, etc. With the consumer. So the consumer right now, the one big missing thing in the solar industry is the consumer having a proper choice of a full solution provider, a brand that they can trust for delivering the generation performance, the after sale service, and the life of the installation as promised. Because it's quite a decentralized activity with lots and lots of system integrators everywhere. And then those system integrators effectively are becoming the manufacturers. So they pick up an inverter from somebody, panel from somebody else, the rest on the balance of system from somewhere else, and then put it all together. And the consumer is left to rely on these small system integrators as their point of
So we can pick stuff from different companies. So what are you hitting that at Livguard? You are offering all kind of supports. I think the panels also, every inverters will snap it.
right. So we don't see ourselves as selling panels or batteries or inverters. We are selling a solution to the customer's rooftop solar needs. So it's a 1 point expert brand that you can talk to, and based on your roof and your electricity consumption needs and your budget, the right kind of solution will be proposed to you, installed and managed through the life of the installation. This is where Livguard really positions itself. And I think that the consumers really there's plenty of solar solution providers, but there aren't as many integrated solution providers who can be trusted by a consumer.
To which have a strong legacy also. Some of the companies that we have seen in Wari Energies, Loom Solar, they have tried experimenting with online sales, offering their products at Amazon or Flipkart. So what is your mode of selling those things? Are you also planning to go online, or you already?
Yes. So see, consumers today for every product category are expecting brands to be available where they go. So if they go online, they want to be able to find out about you. If they search Google, they want to know more, have the information at fingertips. If they go to a dealer or a retailer, they want you to be present there. So consumers' journey starts online mostly, but it really doesn't end online. It ends at a physical interaction, maybe at his home or at a dealership or whatever. But the consumer expects you to be available as a brand at every touch point that he wants to see the product at. So we are available online, but we are generally starting our journey with the consumer online, but ending it offline at his place or at a dealer location.
So you mean retail stores?
We do have our own distribution network. Livguard today has presence in about 4,000 cities, tehsils, towns,
All small.
all kinds of places. So I think pretty much every town or city above 50,000 population, Livguard is available.
So you talk about that you are into making and the manufacturing of TOPCon based solar modules. What about the inverters? What are the major inverter brand, inverter technology that you are into the market?
So I think on the inverter side, Livguard's portfolio is probably the widest in the industry. So we have everything from off-grid inverters with MPPT charge controllers, starting at some 900 VA, all the way to 100 kilowatt hybrid or grid connected inverters. So we have full range of products, both grid tie as well as hybrid and off grid. All three types we do full range of products.
So any person who wants to opt for hybrid inverter, so you get them batteries plus this inverter together, or the individual standalone
Various settings. So our focus is on solutions. So we give it with batteries. In fact, Livguard is the one of the largest tubular battery manufacturers in the country. We have a capacity of 6 million batteries a year. In addition to that, we have a full stack of technology on lithium batteries. So we do everything from our own BMS platform to we have a 1.2 gigawatt hour ESS battery pack manufacturing facility here in Manesar. Okay, and we do entire system monitoring at our bill on our own cloud. So everything from the batteries to the solar installations are monitored on our cloud, so we can tell our customers from time to time when they need to be doing preventive maintenance or if there are any other issues.
So when it comes to rooftop connects, especially if we talk about hybrid inverters, so for hybrid solar system, what is best, do you think? Lead acid or do you guess?
So I, a lot of this conversation goes on that lithium batteries are replacing lead acid batteries. So the way we look at it is there are applications where lead acid batteries work better and there are applications where LFP or lithium batteries work better. And tomorrow there are other applications coming up where sodium ion batteries will work better. So the battery industry has always had multiple chemistries. It's just that some of them have been more dominant than the others
At one point of time.
at one point of time or the other. So the whole EV boom, the global four-wheeler electric vehicle boom that we have seen in the last 5-6 years has led to the lithium battery demand growing dramatically, right? But now in the next 5-10 years, it is not so much the electric vehicles that will be the only demand drivers. It will also be the residential and commercial and grid scale storage systems, which will be demand drivers for LFP batteries and sodium ion batteries.
Because we're talking about energy storage. So recently, I think MNI came up with a clarification that hybrid inverters will be allowed under PM Surekar. So how much potential you see after this clarification come a Kale?
So we had roughly a 50-50 split even prior to this clarification between solar rooftops with battery and solar rooftops with grid tie inverters without battery. So essentially this is largely driven by whether you have power outages in your area of where your residence is. If there are power outages, people want systems with batteries because they can then generate, store and consume without really going to the grid. The only thing that changes now with the hybrid inverters being included is that because of the incentive, there would be a certain percentage of the rooftop installations that will move to the hybrid types. So we are going to see roughly about our estimate is that in the next 1 year or so, about 20 to 25% of the rooftop installations, which were earlier grid tie, which is the PM Surya Yojana under the scheme, about 20 to 25% will move to hybrid inverter.
So in the past few decades, how had been the main journey of your company in terms of revenue? How much you have grown revenue-wise?
So as I told you, we started Livguard only in 2050, so our 10th financial year. So in this 10th financial year, we have grown from zero to about 4,000 few hundred crores. We still haven't closed the year, but the roughly 4,500 or 4,400 crores of revenue. We've been growing at about 30% year on year all through this period. Okay. But the solar segment of our business is growing faster than the overall company growth. Okay. So the solar business is growing at about 50-55% year on.
Do you also have any plan to issue IPO venture into the stock market?
So we, as of today, we are a private company, and we are, largely self-funded. We have Chris Capital as an investor, as a private equity investor in the company with a minority stake. We would potentially raise more capital. It could be private, it could be public, over the next year and a half. Depends on where things are at that point in time. But today we are still a private company.
Do you think in the coming days we can see a kind of solar boom or EV boom where we can see a lot of job creation by these companies, clean energy companies?
Without a doubt. So I don't think that is even a question in terms of it's not happening. In fact, the only question one can ask is what is the scale of that job creation? So the EV side, in my view, we are over a decade, you will see at least about a 10x growth in the EV industry from where it is today in India. We're just starting up. And the job creation potential of the EV industry is very large because it's a manufacturing heavy, service heavy industry. So you will have jobs in R&D, you will have jobs in manufacturing, you will have jobs in service. All of that put together, I would think it has the potential to create almost as many jobs, if not more, as IT industry once did through the outsourcing boom.
How you see the fate of Indian module manufacturers in terms of input cost? Because we have seen that a lot of solar module makers say that the prices of solar cells, imported solar cells, is not likely to be stable or it is not going to come down any further in the coming few months. And we have also seen that maybe in a few months, anti-dumping duties on solar glasses will be imports. And we have seen a lot of domestic solar cell maker talks are coming up. So how do you see the future of Indian solar maker, solar panel makers in terms of cost?
See, look, it's a full value chain which starts from the customer buying a solution going all the way to making the Livguards. And at every piece of that value chain, there is a certain percentage of the value that keeps getting split. And solar panels happen to be fairly small part of the value chain in terms of value capture. The downstream and the upstream value is much higher than the solar panel manufacturing per se. It is a business where costs will depend on external factors. Will it come down or go up? See, for quite some time, the cell prices have been falling, right? And they have fallen like drastically. So from here, how much more room to fall? It's hard to say. My sense is that they will be stable for a little bit, especially in India, because of the various tariffs and the localization, etc. But the long-term trajectory is downwards. It's not going to be upwards. No.
What are the major future plans here now? Are you also planning to venture into solar cell manufacturing?
We are right now not looking at solar cell manufacturing. We are looking at more forward integration. So our core strength lies in power electronics, batteries, and the system engineering and installation service, brand distribution, and those kind of areas. So we are a consumer-facing business, not so much backward integrated business. So it's almost like a consumer business, not like a B2B business.
Last question, where do you want to take your company in the next 5 years? Where do you want to see your company in the future?
See, there are numbers and then there is mission. So what we would like to do is we would, rather than being the biggest company, I would like to be the most loved consumer brand in the area of, energy services and solutions. at solar or otherwise. So I think that's what our goal is. If we can remove the anxiety from a customer's life and make sure that they don't need to worry about energy and they can go on and live their full life, then Livguard's mission is getting accomplished. I think in the process we will grow from revenue or the profitability standpoint as we go along. I think we definitely have an opportunity to more than double our sales in the next 4 or 5 years.
You see yourself the number one solution provider in solar or inverter batteries.
Definitely, we definitely have that ambition, and we are on our way. So we are probably amongst the young brands of the inverter, power backup, and solar industry. You've been around only 7 8 years in that space. In those 7 8 years, we are already amongst the top players. So certainly, our next objective is to lead the market.
Thank you, Mr. Wal.
I appreciate